Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Deez, this is my workshop, and today we're going to make a project. I've already made one before, and it's the nylon V-blocks. They turned out very nice. I have quite a bit of nylon and plastics materials, and I want to use some of that material up and just continue practicing and learning and using the mill and make some functional tools and projects. Today I want to make some more of those V-blocks, but out of a slightly different material. The first ones I made were a little bit more of a softer nylon. You can, like a cutting board material, you can feel the difference between this and this material. This is a harder, it's a lot more rigid of a nylon or plastic. I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure many of you do know what the differences are, but this is a material I want to attempt to make that out of this time. And the first thing I want to do, I need to square off the material. There is a variance between one end and the other. Smaller end is just under 1 inch, and the taller end is about 1.25 inches. And so I want to square this piece off. Now there are two flat factory sides that I'm gonna skim with the fly cutter. Before I get to that, I want to square up the two ends that are rough cut and make this piece really far off. So today I'm gonna make 4, so 2 sets of nylon or of plastic V-blocks out of this material. The other reason I'm doing this is I want to make a set for a friend. I'm visiting somebody soon, another machinist, and I want to give him a couple trinkets and Deez workshop made materials. I'm going to bring you along for the ride. I hope you enjoy. Make some of these yourselves. Very handy, very nice to have some soft V-blocks in case you're working with softer materials so you don't mar them up with some steel ones. And it's a fun project to make. Let's get started. Alright, there we go. I don't want to take much off the shorter end, but I want to take more off of the longer end. So this is going to be the start of the operation, and we're just going to bring this down. I'm going to use a end mill because I need to take nearly 1/4 inch off down here, and I don't want to use a fly cutter to take that much off. So we'll just rough off as much material as we can with an end mill, and then we'll switch over to the fly cutter and we'll smooth that side out, flip it over and do the other side, and then finally clean up these other 2 sides. I want to leave all this sticking out. I want to make it out of one piece. I want to make all of my V grooves and my 90 degrees, the V angles and everything the same, and then we'll cut it in half and we'll make, 2 different pieces. So I want to get all of my milling operations, or as many as I can, done before we actually cut this into 4ths and make 2 sets of these V-blocks. The first thing I'm going to do is get set up in here with an end mill. We're going to clean this up. I'm going to try to use a larger end mill just so I only need to make a couple passes and we'll be done. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put my machinist jacks here as well just to support these ends. We're not really doing much down pressure, we're doing crosswise pressure, but I want to make sure that we've got a little bit of support here where we can use it. much stick out, but that's a good start there. It's good enough for now where this is. I think now it's time to flip this over and turn down the bottom side, and then we'll have a squared up parallel, two parallel sides anyway. Then I want to, I don't think I'm going to use the fly cutter because I don't think I need to. Once I put the V-grooves in here, I take that back. These flat sides here, they need cleaned up. I think I'll use a fly cutter for that. But the V-grooves are going to go in my milled sides. Let's get this flipped over now that I have the ends squared off, and we'll clean up this bottom side, and then we'll be able to continue on. Alright, we have these two sides are squared off. The one thing to note, my machinist jacks that I made, I'm done with these for now, these are just fine for being able to drill holes and support something underneath if you're going to be drilling holes and putting some vertical pressure on a workpiece. But they're not real good for, I faced off the ends of this workpiece, and the vibrations from that basically cause these to vibrate loose. They're not really good for that. I could crank them down tighter, but then I would flex my workpiece, especially since it's plastic or nylon. Someday I'll be on the hunt for some Starrett or some really nice machinist jacks that are well made. These work, don't get me wrong, these have their purpose, but they're not quite rigid for certain operations. If anybody has any out there, hit me up. Maybe I'll buy them from you. I think we have this piece ready to go, and we're ready to put in our mill our V's into these channels. I think what I'm going to end up doing is finishing everything as far as the V's on either side, and then put our relief in there, do some chamfering, and then the final thing I want to do is a fly cut both of these factory edges that are flat, just to clean them up and make them look really nice. So I think the next thing we want to do is take this out of here, evaluate what we're looking at, do some measurement, and then put our V blocks in here and get this thing set at a 45-degree angle so we can mill our V. Well, here is our workpiece. We've got this milled down fairly square, not square but two parallel sides. This is that factory side. You can kind of see the blemishes and everything. I'm going to use the fly cutter to clean this up, but I'm going to wait until we're done because I want to actually put these in pairs and fly cut the pairs, the set together, so I have two equal faces on those. The other sides are going, the sides I just milled are going to be where the V's end up. So there'll be a larger V and a smaller V. And the way that we achieve this is to center our workpiece and then come down the same depth as the width of the end mill that you choose, and you get a perfectly centered V notch. And then you just take an end mill and run in the bottom of your groove to give it a relief so that there's not a stress point. And if you're mounting or putting something in here like this, that corner is not going to bottom out and create a blockage so that you can't get a perfectly centered piece. Otherwise it would rock in there, or it wouldn't be a perfect corner. It'd be difficult. So it's kind of important to put that relief. You probably can't even see that. It's probably important. It's important to put that relief in the bottom of these. That's what we're going to do next. Next thing I want to do is put the V in here. So we're going to use our V blocks, mount them back in the vise, the mill vise, and get on with two different sized V grooves for this workpiece. And we're going to use our V blocks again. All right, I've got everything realigned. We're going to see how well this works out. That's pretty good, other than a little boo-boo up here to start with. I think I'm ready to flip this over and do the other side with a smaller end mill. You can see I was trying to get it all figured out. This is going to be fine, but I may end up cutting this set short, but that's fine. We're going to flip this over and then put our V-groove, a smaller V-groove, in the other side. We're all set up. Let's get our smaller V notch in here and finish that operation. Check. get this out of the vise and inspect it. We are ready to put the center groove down both sides for that relief. Yeah, looking pretty good. Well, we've got our relief cuts made. Both are plenty deep, plenty good. I think we're done with that end mill. Now it's time to take these out and regroup. I'll bring you over to the workbench because I want to decide what we want to do next. I think we're going to have to cut these down into fourths, and then we'll continue on with that. They're pretty much done other than cutting them and then putting an end mill on either on the sides that will be freshly cut. We've got our part made. Let's see if I can, it's kind of hard to see in that angle. Maybe I don't want to get too close. But what we're going to do, we've got a couple blemishes from some boo-boos that I made, and one is right here. You can kind of see it. I'm going to cut this end off in addition to this side. I just wasn't thinking, and I moved my y-axis and cut that. So what I'm going to do is cut these two ends off. But what we want to do is we want to make two sets of these parallels, and we are looking at just under 11 inches in total length, usable, 11 3/4. So we are going to cut them in four semi-equal lengths, and then I'm going to pair them up, and we will fly cut these factory faces, and we'll make two matched sets. We're going to do about 2 3/4 inch lengths for each of the four sections, and I think that's going to take care of it. I'm going to get these cut out on the bandsaw, and then we will finish milling everything in pairs. We'll do the fly cutting for the faces, and then we'll cut the ends together so that we end up with completely squared up matched sets. Well, we got these cut out. Made quite a bit of mess. I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this up, get this cleaned up. But there's our two matched pairs. We got a couple leftover pieces. Let me get this cleaned up. We're going to face off this end, flip them over, and then we'll face off the other side. We'll do the same on the other two, and then we will fly cut these other faces in pairs as well. Alright, that is the match set cut to length and milled to length. Now it's time to get set up for our fly cutting operation, because I want to clean these other faces up. And that's how we're going to do it with a match set. So the lengths are done. Now we just need to mill the factory edge. I want to use a fly cutter and clean that up, and we'll call these parts complete. Smooth. That really does a nice job. That fly cutter. Get some of that out of there. Let's flip her over and finish the other side. One set down, one set to go. I'll get her done, and then I'll bring you over to the workbench and we'll evaluate our pieces and deburr them. Let's get a close-up look here at what we did. There's two sets of these that I made. This one has a little bit of a blemish on the end. And they're not perfect, but these are gonna work out very well. And I made them with the same design that I made these white ones, these white nylon ones, a few months ago. And these are a little smaller, but they're very functional. Let me get a knife or deburring tool. Let's deburr some of the edges on this one. Be right back. And then we'll try. Let me get this out of the way. See if we can get this to deburr. Just take the sharp edge off. Yeah, there we go. there's one. That took a lot longer than it should have. Well, that's going to bring this video to a close. I've got my 2 new V-blocks made out of this plastic material. This is not the same as nylon, but it's very similar. Here's the original white nylon ones, probably like a cutting board material is what I made those out of. But these, it's a harder plastic. We've got them looking really good. I used the fly cutter to clean all the faces, the original factory surfaces. We have 2 match sets that will work really well. We have a thinner side as well as a deeper V groove. And here is the second set. This one has a little blemish in it. That's okay. Overall, they're not perfect, but they're going to work out really well. And now I have another set of V-blocks to add to the toolbox. I hope you enjoyed. Again, this is me working with the mill, using different tooling, trying to understand some of the techniques and get better with using the mill. I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.